Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, Srimad Bhagavatam. King Puranjana goes to the forest to hunt and his queen becomes angry. So Puranjana, as far as we understand, he represents the conditioned soul and the queen represents the material intelligence. So far Puranjana has been under the control of the material intelligence. And this time Puranjana has gone to the forest to hunt and his queen is feeling might be disappointed because he has gone. So let's find out what happens. So now this verse. It was almost impossible for King Puranjana to give up the company of his queen even for a moment. So he was very attached to this queen, so he could not leave her even for a moment. Nonetheless, on that day, being very much inspired by the desire to hunt, he took up his bow and arrow with great pride and went to the forest, not caring for his wife. So on this particular day, somehow he did not take permission from his wife or did not, you know, be with her. So he went to the forest to hunt. That's the title of the chapter. He goes to the forest to hunt. One form of hunting is known as woman hunting. A conditioned soul is never satisfied with one wife. That's why Kshatriyas also married more than one wives before. And Prabhupada says before the women population was less than or women population was more rather than the man population. And so if women wanted to get married, then they would not be able to find so many husbands because the women population was more. So you cannot have one-on-one match. So, and Kshatriyas, Arjuna had four wives, or four or five, and exactly maybe four. Vasudev, the father of Krishna, had how many wives? 16 wives. So like that. So that's why it was the pratha, or it was the trend to marry. Those whose senses are very much uncontrolled, especially, try to hunt for many women. King Puranjana's abandoning the company of his religiously married wife is representative of the conditioned soul's attempt to hunt for many women for sense gratification. So they want to enjoy unrestrictedly. So they try to find so many women as if the enjoyment with every woman is going to differ. We have this story, right? What is that? What is the story about the depicting this point? There was this
There was this prostitute
the,
who served the person in different bowls.
correct. Yeah, there was this man who was attracted to this prostitute. He was married, and this prostitute wanted to teach this man a lesson. So she said, "Okay, you come to my home at this hour." And he came, and then he said, let me give you some refreshments. So she gave him some refreshments in different plates, one silver, gold, and steel plate maybe. So then he was asking that, why are you giving me this different refreshments in different plates? It is the same. It is not different dish. So she said like that sex enjoyment is the same with your wife or with me. So why are you attracted to me? So like that she was giving him a lesson. And Prabhupada says even further, in every species of life, when a pig or when a monkey or when they enjoy, it is also the same as human being enjoys. They are also deriving the same pleasure. So there's a nice verse in the Bhagavatam. Tasyeva heto prayate takovido न लभ्यते यद भ्रमताम उपरि यदा तल्लभ्यते दुखवाद अन्यथा सुखम कालेन सर्वत्र कबीरन्हसा. It says this Krishna consciousness is the only thing that is available in this human form of life. Other enjoyment and everything else you can get in other species of life also. I mean, you should try for something which you did not get in other species of life, going up and down in this universe. And that same idea is there in Labhva Sudurlabham Idam Bahu Sambhavante Manushamarthadama Nityam Api Hatira Turnam Yateta Napatedanu Mrityu Yavan Nihashreyashaya Vishaya Khalu Sarvatasyat. Vishaya Khalu Sarvatasyat. Khalu means indeed. Indeed, this enjoyment of eating, mating, sleeping, and defending is available in any species of life. So, human beings should try for Krishna consciousness. So, Bhagavatam is saying like that. Of course, we have our body and we are conditioned, so we have all these demands. But Bhagavatam is saying that try for something which you did not get, going through all the other species of life in different life forms and going up and down. So, intelligent person, tasyeva heto prayate takovido. Prayate means one who will try. Kovida means one who is intelligent. So we should take shelter of Krishna. We did not get spiritual happiness We got material happiness everywhere. Material happiness means happiness which is coming from the body and sense gratification. This happiness, even the animals are getting in their body. So those whose senses are very much uncontrolled, especially try to hunt for many women. King Puranjana's abandoning the company of his religiously married wife is the representative of the conditioned soul's attempt to hunt for many women for sense gratification. Wherever a king goes, he is supposed to be accompanied by his queen. But when the king or conditioned soul becomes greatly empowered by the desire for sense gratification, he does not care for religious principles. So on this day, he had a great desire to hunt, means he had a great desire for sense gratification. When the conditioned soul is very much affected by the strong desire for sense gratification, then his knowledge becomes covered. As we know in the Bhagavad Gita also, atha kena prayuktayam papam charati purusha. Atha kena prayuktayam papam charati purusha.
Anuchanapi Varshava
Paladiva.
Paladiva
So
Kamesha Krodesha Rajaguna Samabham Mahasham Mahapapam Vidiyana Mehavirina.
so like Ajamil also, right? He had good instruction, he was brought up, but when that desire came, then he forgot all the good instruction. So, so this is the situation, and also because we may not be relishing higher enjoyment. So when higher enjoyment is not there, then we go for lower enjoyment because the nature of the soul is to enjoy. So instead, with great pride, he accepts the bow and arrow of attachment and hatred. So he becomes, one day you are attached, another day you hate. So this is like, raga dvesha, rag and dvesh, hate and attachment. So he went with great pride. Our consciousness is always working in two ways, the right way and the wrong way. When one becomes too proud of his position, influenced by the mode of passion, he gives up the right path and accepts the wrong one. As Krishna says, Rajo Guna Samut Bhava. So, mode of passion. Influenced by the mode of passion, we give up the right path and accept the wrong. Kshatriya kings are sometimes advised to go to the forest to hunt ferocious animals, just to learn how to kill. But such forays are never meant for sense gratification. So basically, this mind, one who conquered the mind conquered the world, right? So we have to be the guru of our mind, not allow the mind to be our guru. So that's the, you have to keep mind under our intelligence, which is guided by spiritual. So that is the way to control the mind to by deliberate spiritual intelligence. Evam buddhve param buddhva sanstapya atmana atmana. So you have to steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence. So that is conquering the mind. And for one who has conquered the mind, then super soul is already reached. But how to conquer the mind? We have to make it servant of Krishna. We have to remain engaged in Krishna's service, Krishna consciousness, think of Krishna like that, and pray to Krishna. So, killing animals to eat their flesh is forbidden for human beings. Okay. So, any comments on this verse? Okay, so we go to the next verse. At that time, King Puranjana was very much influenced by demoniac propensities. So he went into the forest and he was influenced by demonic. Because of this, his heart became very hard and merciless. And with sharp arrows, he killed many innocent animals in the forest, taking no consideration. So he went into the forest and he was killing animals. So he had pride and he went into the forest. And because of the pride in his heart, he became very hard. Like we heard the pastime of Ambrish Maharaj. So Durvasa Muni became very hard because of his pride. And just for Ambrish Maharaj drinking little water or Charnamrit, Durvasa Muni created a demon to kill him because he got so offended that he wanted to take like revenge. So even Indra, because of his pride, he wanted to kill the Vrajavasis, the associates of Krishna. So here he is mercilessly killing so many animals in the forest. So we say, pride cometh before the fall. It's an English proverb, pride cometh before the fall. So many examples in the Bhagavatam where, because of pride, they had fall down. Like Saubhari Muni also cursed who? Garuda because of his pride. Then anything else about pride in the Bhagavatam? Durvasa Muni.
Indra also offended his guru Brahaspati. He didn't stand when he came.
Correct. Yeah, he was very engrossed in his enjoyment. So he failed to observe the proper etiquette of respecting his guru. He was thinking, yeah, I'm great. Yeah, my guru has come, so what? Then he realized afterwards, but it was too late.
Um, I
Yeah.
think Nalkovera Manigriva also um, intoxicated with their wealth.
Correct. Intoxicated by, yeah, they were actually intoxicated also, and yeah, they were too much intoxicated by their wealth. So when you have a lot of wealth, you also become very proud and you don't care for anything. They didn't directly offend Narad Muni. They didn't speak anything to Narad Muni, but they did not observe
For
the.
him, respects like
They did not offer respect, or yeah, they were not dressed before a saintly person like that. So that's the, yeah. So pride cometh before the fall. So one should not be too proud. Then Krishna will make arrangements to curb the pride. And that may be a little painful, but because somebody is devotee, then he will make arrangements to curb the pride. Like in case of Indra. When a man becomes too proud of his yeah, material position, he tries to enjoy his senses in an unrestricted way, being influenced by the modes of passion and ignorance. He is thus described as asuric or demoniac. When people are demonic in spirit, they are not merciful towards the poor animals. Consequently, they maintain various animal slaughterhouses. This is technically called shuna or hinsa, which means the killing of living beings. So they are maintaining so much slaughterhouse. So for sense gratification, anybody, anything one can do. The conditioned soul can do anything for his own sense gratification, not caring about others, even kill. So this is basically what is happening. So many slaughterhouses are being maintained for the taste of the person to eat meat, to eat flesh, and so much of suffering can be inflicted on others. But all this suffering is going to come back to them. According to law of karma, when we give pain to others, then pain is going to come back to us. This is the law. Right? So this is technically called suna or hinsa, which means the killing of live. Like Prabhupada says, all these wars are because so many slaughterhouses are being maintained. So you have killed animals in the slaughterhouse. Now man will kill another man, right? So there is wars and gunfire and bombs and sometimes you see all these pictures in the war. People are all full of blood and their hand has been blown away and so many different things. So everybody is killing animals everywhere. So Prabhupada says nature will make you fight amongst yourself and kill each other. So in this way, this is a reaction of the. But if you don't know, then you can't you attribute so many other reasons. Oh, this fight happened due to this fight happened due to that, because this leader is like that. That is true on the surface at one level, but then there are other hidden causes. And like we say, there is a remote cause, there is ultimate cause, there is immediate cause. So there are remote causes for all these things to happen. In Kali Yuga, due to the increase of the modes of passion and ignorance, almost all men are asuric or demoniac. Therefore, they are very much fond of eating flesh, and for this end, they maintain various kinds of animal slaughterhouses. In this age of Kali, the propensity for mercy is almost nil. So mercy has been destroyed, right? Only truthfulness is there to some extent, but that is also fast, going away, and there is also no truthfulness. So mercy, austerity, cleanliness, and mercy, austerity, cleanliness,
Truthfulness.
and what?
Truthfulness.
Truthfulness. Yeah, that's it. These are the four pillars on which dharma rests. So mercy is almost nil, and people are killing each other. Consequently, there is always fighting and wars between men and nations. Men do not understand. So, because of less mercy, people are less forgiving, people are less kind to others. And not only that, they want to inflict violence on others. Men do not understand that because they unrestrictedly kill so many animals, they must also be slaughtered like animals in big wars. This is very much evident in Western countries. In the West, slaughterhouses are maintained without restriction, and therefore, every fifth or 10th year, there is a big war in which countless people are slaughtered, even more cruelly than the animals. Sometimes during war, soldiers keep their enemies in concentration camps and kill them in very cruel ways. So they torture, and finally they are killed. These are reactions brought about by unrestricted animal killing in the slaughterhouse and by hunters in the forest. So proud. So the animals are crying in the slaughterhouse and nobody cares. So nobody's caring. No, there's no law that it's a crime to slaughter all these animals. So they've legalized it rather. So now there is all. It is just waiting. All this, so much karma has been built up. It can explode into a world war anytime. Proud demonic persons do not know the laws of nature or the laws of God. Consequently, they unrestrictedly kill poor animals, not caring for them at all. So that's why we have to spread Krishna consciousness by giving out Srila Prabhupada's book. So many people became vegetarian, and not even more than vegetarian is they became Krishna conscious. In the Krishna consciousness movement, animal killing is completely prohibited. One is not accepted as a bona fide student in this movement unless he promises to follow the four executive principles: no animal killing, no intoxication, no illicit sex, and no gambling. This Krishna consciousness movement is the only means by which the sinful activities of man in this Kali Yuga can be counteracted. Okay, so as we engage in devotional service, then our heart will become clean, and then all these activities will stop. So we came to ISKCON to purify our heart, become a pure devotee of Krishna. That's the purpose why we came, because we want to get out of this. You may say it's materially motivated, whatever. Yes, that's true. But you see the world situation, and that's an impetus for us to get out. And it's not going to get better as Kali Yuga progresses, after the 10,000 year golden period. So, how long we will remain like this in the cycle of birth and death, going through all the struggle? Then Krishna is inviting us to our eternal home. Mamupetya punarjanma dukkhalayam asashvatam. Na mamupetya tu kaun?
नाप्नुवन्ति महात्मनः संसिद्धिं गतः.
Sansiddhim paramam. So, how long we will, and that only for a few years, few decades. That's all. So he's saying that surrender to me, forget all these things. I've given you a nice situation. Now just surrender to me and take my shelter, chant the holy name, preach about Krishna, and then come back to me. Everything is temporary anyway. It's all going to be finished. At any time it can be finished. Kamala dala jala jivana talamala. So Krishna is saying that become serious and surrender to me. You've got this opportunity to surrender to me. Become a pure devotee and go back home. Okay, so and it is a very joyful process. Susukham kartum avyayam. So it's a joyful process, chanting, dancing, and feasting. Prabhupada would say like that. So what else? Of course, we have to do service to cook, feasting. Then you have to do service, but that is also done joyfully in the association of devotees. So there are devotees who are living in the temple, like they are cooking every day. They are changing. They are worshiping the deity. They are cooking every day. So okay, if you don't, some people may not like that much, but you can assist in doing cooking, right? You can cut the vegetables. If a king is too attracted to eating flesh, he may, according to the directions, we'll read this one verse and stop with this. If a king is too attracted to eating flesh, he may, according to the directions of the revealed scriptures on sacrificial performances, go to the forest and kill some animals that are recommended for killing. One is not allowed to kill animals unnecessarily or without restrictions. So indiscriminate killing is not recommended. If you want to eat some flesh, then kill animals that are recommended for killing. Because actually it is not good, but if the man is so adamant, then okay, then you have to. If you want what he's saying, no, no, I want it. I want to eat meat. I want to eat meat. So then there is some provision like that. The Vedas regulate animal killing to stop the extravagance of foolish men influenced by the modes of passion and ignorance. So, so instead of killing on a wholesale scale, you kill in a restricted way. The question may be raised, why a living being should be restricted in sense gratification? So everywhere there is restriction, sense gratification. Because if we do unrestricted sense gratification, then it will entangle us. So there is regulated sense gratification under rules and regulations. So if you want to eat meat or like that, there is, like Prabhupada says, this liquor, right? Liquor. If you want to drink, okay, then there is licensed shops where you can buy liquor. So it is not good for you. Similarly, marriage means also restriction. So restriction of sense gratification. So all these things are to restrict, and then there are all these rules about how and only for procreation one should engage in. So like that, it is to restrict the living entity from his desire to enjoy. But because he cannot give it up, because he has no higher taste, he knows only this taste. He has no higher taste, the conditioned soul. So we are told that okay, you can engage in a restricted way, and then slowly give up the desire. If a king to learn how to kill may go to the forest and kill animals, why should a living entity who has been given senses not be allowed unrestricted sense gratification? At the present moment, this argument is put forward even by so-called swamis and yogis who publicly say that because we have senses, we must satisfy them by sense gratification. So they say Krishna has given us this life to enjoy, which Prabhupada also said to enjoy, but to enjoy in Krishna consciousness. These foolish swamis and yogis, however, do not know the injunctions of the Shastras. Like somebody came and told, I am follower of Osho. Osho is saying that by enjoyment you will get perfection, right? Yeah.
So when Prabhupada said like what the goal of life is to enjoy, he said not your enjoyment, Krishna's enjoyment.
Correct. That is also there. yeah, Krishna's enjoyment, and you enjoy because you. We were talking yesterday how when the one who is serving enjoys more than who is being served. So that is why Lord Chaitanya comes. Krishna comes as Lord Chaitanya. So when you do pure devotional service and you serve without self, then you enjoy more than Krishna, how much Krishna enjoys. That's how it is set up by Krishna. So the devotee also enjoys in serving. So these foolish swamis and yogis, however, do not know the injunctions of the Shastra. So the only thing is we have to do selfless service without any. If we keep our desires for yesterday, we were reading Gundicha Marjanam, how gross and subtle desires. If we want to keep ourselves in the center, even by serving God, if we want to keep ourselves in the center, then we will not relish. In the nectar of devotion, they say those who want to become important, either in the spiritual or material sense, then they cannot relish the sweet taste of Krishna consciousness. So, yeah, so then we'll be able to relish if we become selfless in serving Krishna. Indeed, sometimes ye atma suprasidati, ahetukiya pratihata, ye atma suprasidati. Indeed, and how do we know we will relish? We have to try it out when we render pure devotional service. Then we can see if this what they are saying is true or not. Indeed, sometimes these rascals come out to defy the Shastras. They even publicly announce, there should be no more Shastras, no more books, just come to me. They say, and I shall touch you and you will become immediately spiritually advanced. Because demonic people want to be cheated, so many cheaters are present to cheat them. At the present moment in this age of Kali Yuga, the entire human society has become an assembly of cheaters and cheated. For this reason, the Vedic scriptures has given us the proper directions for sense gratification. Everyone is inclined in this age to eat meat and fish and drink liquor and indulge in sex life, but according to Vedic injunction, sex is allowed only in marriage, meat eating is allowed only when the animal is killed and offered before goddess Kali, and intoxication is allowed only in a restricted way. In this verse, the word niyam yate indicates that all these things, namely animal killing, intoxication, and sex, should be regulated. So you can only eat meat only on Amavasya, something like that. Like for sex life, also Prabhupada says in the Grihastha manual there is this that only once a month when for the purpose of procreation, and liquor also maybe only for on a certain day you can eat drink liquor or something like that. So everywhere there is a restriction. So regulations are meant for human beings, not for animals. The traffic regulations on the street telling people to keep to the right or left are meant for human beings, not for animals. If an animal violates such a law, he is never punished, but a human being is punished. The Vedas are not meant for the animals, but for the understanding of human society. A person who indiscriminately violates the rules and regulations given by the Vedas is liable to be punished. One should therefore not enjoy his senses according to his lusty desires, but should restrict himself according to the regulatory principles given in the Vedas. If a king is allowed to hunt in a forest, it is not for his sense gratification. We cannot simply experiment in the art of killing. If a king is being afraid to meet rogues and thieves, kills poor animals, and eats their flesh comfortably at home, he must lose his position. Because in this age kings have such demoniac propensities, monarchy is abolished by the laws of nature in every country. Because the kings became irreligious, Prabhupada is saying monarchy has been abolished. Yeah. Okay, so they were allowed to kill in a restricted way in the forest. It is not for their sense gratification, but to maintain their Kshatriya spirit. So, like that. People have become so degraded in this age that on one hand they restrict polygamy, on the other hand they hunt for women in so many ways. So Prabhupada is saying that, yeah, they have made a law that only one wife or one like that, yeah. But then because they have desire, so then now they are going to the naked dance and all this nightclubs. They've restricted polygamy. Many business concerns publicly advertise that topless girls are available in this club or in that shop. Thus, women have become instruments of sense enjoyment in modern society. The Vedas enjoin, however, that if a man has the propensity to enjoy more than one wife, as is sometimes the propensity for men in the higher social order, such as the Brahmanas, sometimes Kashyap Muni also had two wives, Aditi and Diti. So he's saying if there is a propensity, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras, he is allowed to marry more than one wife. Marriage means taking complete charge of a woman and living peacefully without debauchery. At the present moment, however, debauchery is unrestricted. Nonetheless, society makes a law that one should not marry more than one wife. This is typical of a demoniac society. So they made a law, at the same time they are engaged in debauchery. So that is what Prabhupada is saying in this. Okay, so the next verse. Okay, we'll stop at this one. Any comments on this? Bookmark this. Okay, so we will read what we were reading yesterday in the past time. Right? Okay, so what happened yesterday?
I think she asked them to go to, I mean, in the forest of Vrindavan because the gopis were very shy in Gokul.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Yashoda said, or somebody said, yeah, they should have a, Purnamasi said they should have a festival of marriage for so many days. And yeah, they were able to go to Vrindavan. So Daruk is coming. Yeah, but then Nanda Maharaj is saying that if Krishna goes back, he wanted him to stay. He said, you can go to the forest, but you should never leave us again. And Krishna said, yes. So, but then he was feeling bad, just like Kunti Devi was feeling bad. She was asking Krishna to stay, but then she would be depriving the Vrishnis of Krishna's association. So she was feeling, I'm partial to my children. That's why I'm asking Krishna to stay. Nanda Maharaj also had similar feelings here.
So he's asking Krishna to replicate himself.
Correct.
And
Yeah. And and at Akrura Ghat also something. Krishna, when he went to rescue his father, and then he came out.
showed the spiritual world to them. Okay, so then Krishna called Daruk. Please increase the size of my chariot so that it may carry these Vrajvasis to Vaikuntha.
Because he had promised, right? Krishna had promised the Vrajvasis that they would achieve that same spiritual world at the end. But yeah, they have not died yet, but he's saying, okay. So I should read or you?
You can read.
Okay.
I can also read.
Okay. So maybe you can read from here, Daru.
Taruk followed his master's order, and when all was in readiness, by Krishna's mercy, the Ansha avatars of Nanda Maharaj and all the cowherd men of Raj, along with their wives, children, cows, and domestic animals, as well as the deer and wild animals, and every living entity in Vrindavan, manifested eternal spiritual forms. On Krishna's cue, those Rajvasis boarded his beautiful chariot, decorated with garlands, festoons, and flags. Then Hari, appearing as the youthful son of Nanda Maharaj, got in beside them. Krishna reassured his associates, and as he called out to Daruk, the chariot moved forward and ascended to the highest planet in the spiritual sky. So everybody is going back to the spiritual world. Showers of flowers and a resounding kirtan accompanied Krishna as he returned to Vaikuntha, And as they neared their destination, the Vrajvasis beheld the same domain Krishna had revealed to them at Akrura Ghat. The Vrajvasis saw splendid Golok, full of transcendental bliss, more beautiful and glorious than any place in the 14 worlds. Although Golok was fully transcendental, Krishna's pastimes there resembled his pastimes in the material world. And although Golok was self-luminous, Krishna had manifested as sun, moon, countless stars, and all things charming and beautiful to enrich his pastimes. In the sky of Golok, the most exalted demigods flew in their airplanes, and Krishna's Chaturvyu expansions, along with their armies, guarded the directions. That abode, hearing about which poets, sages, and demigods are plunged into an ocean of wonder, filled the approaching Brajvasis with blissful awe. Golok appeared like its earthly counterpart, but it was filled with Chintamani jewels. Its palaces and buildings were made of Chintamani stones, and its beautiful trees, plants, and flowers thrived in its Chintamani soil. The sights, sounds, and sensations caused by its countless varieties of beautiful hills, birds, and beasts were full of wonder. Every word in Golok sounded like a nectarian song, and every step its residents took appeared like the most charming dance. Then Krishna's dearest friend, the flute, whose fortune outshines that of anyone else, greeted the Vrajvasis with a sound, a sweet and playful melody. That song made the Yamuna's nectarian waters solidify, melted the stones on Govardhan Hill, and increased the unlimited ecstasy of Golok a thousandfold. That place beyond the power of material intelligence, which people of the earth aspire for, which the residents of Vaikuntha adore, and which goddess Lakshmi yearns for, welcomed Krishna and his associates. Thus Krishna awarded his eternal abode to the demigod expansions of the Vrajvasis, and he bestowed upon them service appropriate to demigods, not service rendered by humans in Gokul. They forgot that Krishna had left for Mathura, that they had ever been separated from him, or that they had ever been to the world of matter. It was as if they had always been in Golok, their eternal home. So that's what we will feel when we go back home, back to Godhead. We might know that for a moment we were or we were having a bad dream. It was so horrible, that dream. Like being in the material world is like that, but it was for a very short time, but we never left Golok. We were there, right?
Yeah. It's like, and sometimes they say you are in Golok Vrindavan, but you are dreaming, so you don't realize that you are in Golok Vrindavan because nobody ever leaves Vaikuntha. They say like that also. But you are dreaming, so your consciousness is not there in Golok. So,
Yeah.
and then when you wake up, you find out, oh, I am in Golok. It was just a dream. I was just in the dream, in the material world, where I was thinking of so many things. I am this body, I am that body, like that. But now the dream is over. Like here, when we have the dream, we may imagine so many things, but then when you wake up, oh, that was just a dream. Yeah. Although millions of years may have passed here, millions and millions of
Considering infinity, right? Infinite time, time immemorial. That is very short time.
years. So that's why in one purport in the four Kumara section, Prabhupada says, not even leaves fall in Vaikuntha, something like that he says. No leaves, nobody falls in Vaikuntha. So sometimes people say, well, if we are in Vaikuntha, so we have not fallen, we are just dreaming that we are in the spiritual, in in the material world.
Correct. That's why we say that just if our consciousness changes, then we are in the spiritual world with Radha and Krishna, even being here.
Correct. There was a big debate about this, right? This, if you see this, in Vaikuntha, not even the leaves fall. There is a thorough analysis of this. There is a book, a treatise on the bondage of Jiva. Satyanarayan Das and Kundali Das. So this
I think, yeah, that's referencing Jeva Dharma of Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
and in one purport Prabhupada writes, yeah, that's so he writes that not even the leaves fall in Vaikuntha. So
Yeah, so that's one theory, is we
mm,
never fell, is we dreaming.
when fall down takes place, it means falling down from the non-fallen condition. So this is also we are saying fall down takes place means if you're already fallen, then you cannot fall down. But if you're not fallen, then you can fall down. So they are saying that Prabhupada is saying like that when fall down takes place, it means falling down from the non-fallen condition. There is a lecture he gave. So we were in a non-fallen condition with Krishna in the spiritual world. Then we fell down. If we were already in fallen state, then we cannot fall down. So some people, whatever, this way goes both ways. Like so, we have also come down from Vaikuntha some millions and millions of years ago. Lecture on Bhagavad Gita. These spirit souls and all spirit souls are coming from Vaikuntha. So,
Yet we say we are Nitya Buddhas.
because they say for such a long time you have been here, so it's like almost forever, for millions of years. So that way they say Nitya. Eternally you have been here.
But ultimately, everybody is going back to Godhead, and there will be much more time than being in the material world. So,
There will be more time, much more
I
time.
mean, yeah. So in the material world, we are here for millions of years, whereas the time is infinite, right? So we'll be in the spiritual world for majority of our time. So why would we be called Nitya Buddhas then? Eventually, everybody goes back home, back to Godhead.
But right now in material consciousness, we are in the material world, so maybe that's why they call because uh, their time is not like passing with, their time is there, but it's not like. Yeah, I mean Nitya Baddha because so many times you are saying why in spiritual world there is more we have been there more time than in here, so why we are called Nitya Baddhas? Is that the question?
Yeah.
The way let's see how the way Prabhupada uses Nitya Baddha means like for since time immemorial we cannot trace out when he came into this material world. So how does it you says yeah he says here Nitya Baddha. Nitya Baddha means ever conditions, those ever conditioned. Those living entities who are in this material world, they do not know when they came in touch with this material world. Neither they do know when they will be liberated. So how many more lifetimes we will be in this material world, they don't know. So when they came in touch with this material, so they came. So then those who are not attracted, they are called Nitya Siddha. Those who are being attracted, they are called Nitya Baddha. Nitya means eternal and Mukta means liberated. Okay. Those who are conditioned, they are called Nitya Baddha means we do not know whenever this conditional state has begun. It is impossible to trace out this history. So in that way, since time immemorial, Prabhupada means unless we give this false sense of we unless we give up the sense of lording it over material nature, then we cannot go back. Those who are within this material planets are Nitya Baddha. Okay. We cannot be eternally conditioned because we are part and parcel of Krishna. Our natural position is ever liberated. Nityabadda, forever. Forever means we cannot calculate how long we shall continue. It is not Nitya actually, but because I do not know from whence it has begun and when it will end, Therefore, it is called Nitya Baddha. That's where how he's using it. Okay. Okay, so we can continue this.
The Golak sojourn of Krishna's was unseen by his eternal Rajvasi associates on earth. As simple cowherds, they were unaware of the supernatural events Krishna was weaving around them. But because Krishna wanted to reassure Nandaraj that he would be in Dwarka as well as in Vraj before Nanda's eyes, Krishna manifested his Vasudev form. The Vrajvasis were amazed to see two Krishnas. One was Shamsundar, a Gopa with flute and peacock feather, the other Vasudev, a king with weapons and bejeweled helmet. Yet, like the gopis and their doubles, when Shyama and Vasudev were side by side, it was evident that Vasudev was displaying only a portion of Shyama's qualities. While the demigods praised him and showered flowers, Vasudev mounted his chariot and set off alone to Dwarka, flying through the airways used by the demigods. He quickly reached Dwarka, where the Vrishnis, who had been eagerly waiting his return, received him. By the Dwarkavasi's calculation, 2 months had passed since Krishna left to answer Dantavakra's challenge. They had feared he would be enticed by the love of the Vrajvasis, but now that he had returned, they vowed to make every effort to bind him with their loving service. And true to the promise to his father, Krishna remained in Prakata Vrindavan in his original form as a Gopa. That was his first priority, his foremost desire. But now, although the Vrajvasis in the Prakata Leela would still be able to see him, those with material vision would not. How Krishna had remained in Vrindavan and simultaneously displayed a twofold departure from it was a source of bewilderment for the greatest demigods. But for the devotees absorbed in one of these three pastimes, their experience was of one Leela, the one appropriate to their relationship with Hari. And once again, Yogamaya arranged for the devotees to see the Leela favorable to their rasa. Three Leelas, three pastimes means one going back to Vaikuntha, one going to Dwarka, and one in Braj. Is it?
Yeah, it seems like that. There are three. So,
Uh-huh.
so what happened when he took them back to the spiritual sky? Then they saw, right, Krishna. The flute was welcoming them.
Hey, there was being spiritual world is being described here, Chintamani Dham, and some plenary portion there of these Rajvasis went. But Krishna is also present in Rajvasi, Prakata Leela also is going on in Vrindavan. He also went in the Vasudev form in Dwarka, where the Dwarkavasis were waiting for him.
So they saw two Krishnas, one with king and
Yeah. So they're saying that how Krishna remained in Vrindavan and simultaneously displayed a twofold departure. Means one to Vaikuntha and one to Dwarka.
so this is in Vrajvasis, right? They are in these on the Bhauma, or in the on the earth.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And what happened when the Krishna who took them to the spiritual world, Daruk, and that Krishna stayed there?
It's described how the spiritual world was looking like.
Okay, so
So, but for the devotees absorbed in one of these three pastimes, their experience was of one Leela, the one appropriate to their relationship with Hari. And once again, Yogamaya arranged for the devotees to see the Leela that is favorable to their rasa. After he had fulfilled the wonderful request of Nanda Maharaj, Krishna turned his attention to Radhika and the gopis. It was time to satisfy their desire. The gopis now asked Krishna to take them to the other side of Yamuna.
Okay. So Radharani and Krishna are going to be on the gopis are going to be on the other side of Yamuna, not where Nanda Maharaj is, but on the other side. We have seven forests in one side and five on the other side. There are 12 forests in Vrindavan. So there they would be secluded in an atmosphere ideal for loving pastime. So there would be no elders, no parents. Krishna replied, "O beloveds, for your pleasure I have created a most confidential pastime garden. Please come and see." The gopis were perplexed. They wanted the natural gardens along the Yamuna shore in the forest of Vrindavan. So they didn't want to have any other forest created by Krishna. They wanted to have the natural forest. That was that. They had no interest in examining Krishna's horticultural skills, no matter how matchless they were. "What is this garden you have created?" asked Radha. They just wanted to be with Krishna. It didn't matter whether Krishna has created a new garden or something like that. Followed by his gopis, Krishna set out towards the Yamuna shore, holding Radhika's hand. There, in a lovely flower garden, Krishna pointed to a large cave leading beneath the river. The gopis were hesitant to enter, but they trusted Krishna and so descended along a wide tunnel decorated with pictures of their pastimes, just like we in Mayapur or other places you go. And on the walls, there are Krishna's pastime paintings. So when gopis and Krishna entered this cave, on the walls, there were pictures of the pastimes of Krishna with the gopis. Eventually, the tunnel opened into a wonderful underground garden, illumined by jeweled lamps and served by attendants of Vrinda Devi. So they went through the tunnel. On the other side, there was a beautiful garden. This subterranean paradise was replete with blossoming trees and vines, singing birds, buzzing bees, and mystical pastoral charms. Krishna can create anything like that. Crystalline rivulets surrounded many small islands, upon which stood opulent kunjas fully stocked for loving pastimes. So it was perfect for Radha Krishna's pastimes. There were spacious dining areas and comfortable flower seats, a large dancing arena, a platform for playing dice and games. One storehouse contained musical instruments for accompanying the singing of Ras dance, another unlimited cooking supplies. So all the ingredients were there. The beauty was there, the beauty of the forest, and the kunjas were there, and so many things. Krishna looked pleased with himself as he asked Radha, "Most beloved, is this place not the summit of seclusion?" Because they went through a tunnel into a garden, and so nobody can find it. Radhika answered, as always, you have outdone yourself. But as wonderful as this cave is, as opulent and secluded as it may be, it does not satisfy the heart as does Vrindavan forest." But she still says, "No, no, Vrindavan forest is better than this." Lalita added, There is neither moon nor sun, nor the sense of changing time. This is a place of never ending darkness." Lalita also did not like it. Vishaka continued, "This place is different from the scene of our youthful pastimes. It does not satisfy our hearts." So Krishna brought them to a nice subterranean paradise. But they said, "No, no, here we cannot see the sun, the moon. It's like time is standing still here. So we don't like this." Krishna appeared crestfallen because he had created this garden and they're saying nobody likes it. They like more the forest of Vrindavan. How would he satisfy the gopis? Radha placed her soothing palm on Krishna's hand. "O Shyam, O you who know and serve the hearts of your devotees, we now have the blessings of our elders. Your obligation to the demigods is complete and you have pacified the Vrishnis in Dwarka. There is only one thing left to do. Please take us back to our original Parakiya pastimes, to those places which best serve those pastimes." So their heart is in the forests of Vrindavan, in Vrindavan basically. Krishna shook his head in amazement. After doing so much, Krishna can't believe what gopis are saying. He could not hide anything from Radha. She had divined the many forms he had just assumed. And now she desired to have him in his original Shyam Sundar form as her Parakiya lover. Krishna replied, "So be it. Please see the places accessible from this subterranean garden." Taking Radhika by the hand, Krishna again led the gopis along a subway, but this time to Vrindavan and the bank of Yamuna. Then, to increase the gopis' joyous wonder, he led them along another subway to Radhakund, along another to Sanket, and along other to the places of their intimate pastimes. At last, the gopis were satisfied. So I think Sanket was between Barshana and Nandagram, right, where they used to meet. Sanket, where Krishna.
Right.
uh,
Yeah. Meet secretly. Give them an indication. This is here we will meet.
Sanket is like indication. So between, I think, Yavat is where he was meeting.
Yavat and Nandagaon.
So Krishna would assume like the form of a peacock or a bird, and he would like there is some pastimes where he would go on cooing like that and then calling Radharani. Any pastimes, right, like that? Krishna was calling and then.
Yeah, we heard that from Hariparsha Prabhu, right? He became a cuckoo or something and he was going and Radharani opened the door and her mother-in-law shouted, "Who's there?" at the door. And she closed it and then Krishna had to sit all night waiting for Radharani.
Okay. After many wonderful adventures, Krishna's pastime had come full circle, so he came back again to the Vrindavan forest. He had returned to Vrindavan and fulfilled his promise to marry the gopis. He had reciprocated the varied love of the Brajvasis and reassured them that he would not leave Vrindavan. To bring joy to the Vrishnis, he had returned to Dwarka as Vasudev, and to continue his Swakiya pastimes, he had taken the demigods to Golok. Finally, and for the satisfaction of the original Brajvasis, of whom all other associates were but partial expansions, Krishna now was visible in Braj in his uppercut form and would always remain so. So he would remain in his uppercut form, means he was not manifested. So in Swakiya pastimes, he went to Dwarka as Vasudev, and then, but he had promised Nanda Maharaj not to leave. So to the eyes of ordinary men, Krishna had returned to Vrindavan to visit his relatives after killing Dantavakra. He had done many times before. After some time he left to return to Dwarka, but in Radha's eyes, Krishna was present by her side, eager to engage in loving pastimes with her and the gopis. So after he killed Dantavakra, then he came back to Vrindavan. And then he remained there in Radha's eyes. Radhika lifted Krishna's hand and placed it to her cheek. By this single act, she was more than rewarded him. She more than rewarded him for taking her back to Vrindavan forest. And there were more rewards in store for Hari, including the reward of a never ending festival of Ras dancing, non different from the dancing they had shared long ago. So they had Ras Leela also. She was the same Radha, the same Krishna, and once again a gentle Yamuna breeze, bearing the fragrance of Kunda, Kumuda, and Arvind flowers would caress Krishna's limbs. Once again the humming bumblebees, impelled by the king Kamadev, would induce the peacocks to dance graciously, and the parrots and cuckoos to sing melodiously on the fifth note. So everything was perfect now for Krishna to perform his Ras dance. Once again, in the midst of such gaiety, the moon would bathe Vrindavan with its soothing rays and bewilder the forest creatures into thinking that they had been painted silver. So moonlight was there shining on all everything, and it looked like they had all turned silver. Then Krishna would form the gopis into a golden necklace, and he, like a radiant sapphire, would glow at the center. So in a necklace, if you have a sapphire surrounding all the, or in the middle of all the pearls, so Krishna was like that sapphire. He was glowing at their center, turning their complexions emerald green. And as the young wives of demigods would look on, as the gopis skilled in the arts would sing and play music, Krishna and his goddesses would dance. Krishna's desires would be completely fulfilled when he Radha danced and held his hands, but the wives of the demigods would not be able to see Radha and Krishna. They would only see only see the Krishna monsoon cloud and glistening lightning moving upon the earth, and so the demigoddesses were also would also be bewildered. Sometimes Krishna would sing and the gopis would dance, and sometimes the gopis would sing and Krishna would dance. Seeing Krishna's dark form beside each golden gopi. So sometimes Krishna is singing, gopis are dancing, sometimes gopis are singing, and then Krishna is dancing. Kamadev would topple from his throne and roll on the ground in ecstasy. So Kamadev was also very enchanted at this sight of Krishna with the gopis. To give the gopis and Krishna a better view, the moon would expand and appear to hold a multitude of lamps in the four directions. And so that Krishna's enjoyment would span a kalpa, the wise sun would hide in the womb of the earth, listening to the patter of the dancers' feet. So this is describing how Ras Leela was happening. And if the gopis would feign pride, then Hari would jokingly disappear with Radhika. He would take her hand and wander throughout the beautiful forest, unable to leave her, completely controlled by her love. Then once again Radha and Shyam would meet the gopis and resume their mystical nectarian dance. Then Krishna in this pastime he also left Radhika, and then again the gopis are crying, they sang the Gopi Geet, again Krishna would come and they would again engage in Ras Leela. So it is separation and union. If that dance could compare to anything, then it might resemble countless dark moons revolving around fair moons. The gopis were fair, or countless golden vines embracing tamal trees, or counting black bees drinking nectar from golden lotuses. It would be up to poets to rise to the challenge and compose similes apt to the transcendental event. So they are describing how Krishna appeared like so many black bees because he was in with every gopi drinking nectar from golden lotuses, or like countless golden vines embracing tamal trees. So that is tamal is Krishna and vines, golden vines are gopis. The combined sound of the singing flute song, and the tinkling of ankle bells, waist bells, and bangles would surpass the final commentary of the Vedas. So this is the highest Rasa Pancha Adhyay in the Bhagavatam also. This is considered, these five chapters are considered the topmost of everything, which I think includes the Gopi Geet also. Right? It starts with 29, I think, 10.29 or something like that.
Yes.
So Gopi Geet is chapter 31. So it also includes that. So five chapters. So it is the culmination of everything. Um, it is the highest. So it is described in a very, very like after the nine cantos and the 10th canto, and that also after you read 28 chapters, then the 29th chapter comes. So we would not be misunderstanding Krishna's Ras Leela. Okay, so like that. This is also described in the song by Govinda Das. Jaya Jaya Ujjwal Rasa Sarvarasa San Pararikam Kiya Bhave Jaha Prajate Prachar. And also Sarva Manoram. It is the Jaya Jaya Rasa Leela Sarva Manorama. It is the most enchanting of all the pastimes of Krishna. This Ras Leela. Jaya Jaya Rasa Leela. How does it go? Jaya Jaya Rasa Leela. Sarva Rasa Sar. Jaya Jaya Sarva Rasa Sar. Parakiya.
भावे जहाँ ब्रजते प्रचार श्रीरास मंडला जया जया राधा श्यामा जया जया रास लीला सर्व मनोरम.
Sarva Manoram means it is the most enchanting of all the pastimes. Sarva Manoram. which is the most beautiful of all Lord Krishna's pastimes. Okay.
So this Harinam Sankirtan was also participating in Krishna's Ras Leela.
Yeah, chanting the holy name, coming together and chanting the holy name is also very gives as much pleasure as the Ras Leela. So we say that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants to give us this pleasure of the Brajavasis, especially the gopis. So how is giving them? Maybe we can think that it is giving through this Sankirtan.
So chanting, dancing, that's what we are doing. I mean, okay, there is one japa, but there is also this kirtan. We are dancing with Krishna.
Yeah, this Kirtan is like being in the spiritual world only with all the Brajavasis.
Yeah, it seemed like that, right? In Sadhu Sangha, how everybody was so ecstatically dancing.
Yeah. Okay, so we will stop here with this page. And we are reading Krishna book. We'll read Krishna book. The other chapter, Krishna book 2 maybe. One is here.
Just hearing, so I have to go to the temple.
Okay. So I'll read some new chapter in Krishna book. This is about deliverance of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is a great devotee, but in to show that he has been defeated by Krishna, also sometimes he would enact pastimes. As Bhishma Dev also we say, he fought against Krishna to also show, not only to give Vidya ras to Krishna, but also to show that if you are against Krishna, then no matter, even if you have Ichhamrityu, you will still be defeated. So, in his defeat, he is glorifying Krishna. That in instructing us that if you want to be victorious, then always follow Krishna's instructions. Although he's a great devotee, and it may like look like apparently that he's going against Krishna's will by taking the side of the Kauravas, but in that he is glorifying Krishna. So that's how we understand. Otherwise, Bhishma can be very like difficult to understand. He had made his vow that he would always be loyal to the king of Hastinapur, and that's why he would not, budge from his vow, and he was fighting with the Kauravas. But when Krishna came, he picked up a chariot wheel and he rushed towards Bhishma to kind of kill him. Then Bhishma said, "Yes, I'm ready." So that nice picture is there. Bhishma's arms are like, without any weapons and in the mood of surrender. And Krishna is with the chariot wheel, and Arjuna is holding his feet because he doesn't want Krishna to break his promise of not fighting. So in the battle, so like that, this whole scene is there, and Bhishma is remembering this scene. So there's nice prayers of Bhishma. He wants to see this this form of Krishna who is holding the chariot, the horses' reins in his hands, and he's covered with dust, and he has wounds on his body. So because he was also struck by some of the arrows that Bhishma threw at him, and so like that, and he's covered with all the dust. Just like gopis also, they are remembering Krishna's form with covered with dust. So Bhishma also wants to remember this form of, and he is wearing pitambar, and so let's see what exactly his prayer is. We can read. It's in the first canto, ninth chapter. So, on the battlefield where Sri Krishna attended Arjuna out of friendship, the flowing hair of Lord Krishna turned ashen, so his hair was covered with dust due to the dust raised by the hoofs of the horses. And because of his labor, so he was working hard to control the horses, there were some drops of perspiration on his face. Beads of sweat sweated his face. All these decorations intensified by the wounds dealt by my sharp arrows were enjoyed by him. So for Krishna, receiving those arrows was like receiving flowers from Bhishma because this is Viryaras. So he had some wounds, like some red spots on his body, and his hair was covered with ash, with dust. It had turned ashen due to dust, and there were drops of perspiration on his face and covered with wounds delivered by the arrows of Bhishma. And Bhishma is saying, "Let my mind meditate on this form of Krishna." So that is one place where he says, where he likes to see. Okay. Normally, we would not like to see the Lord wounded. Right? But Bhishma is saying that I want to see the Lord with, you know, wounds on his body. So, because Krishna relished those arrows, that's why. The deliverance of Lord Shiva. Normally, we think like, if somebody is shooting arrows, how can that be devotional service? But that is how Bhishma was doing his devotional service. So, so Krishna is, as because it's the heart that Krishna sees, and he's in Viryaras, so he's doing that. So he's doing that out of love as a service to Krishna. Okay, and that's why Bhishma is one of the Mahajans. Otherwise, how? As a great devotee of Krishna, King Parikshit was already liberated because Parikshit in the in his womb only he saw Krishna, and he was examining, is this the person who saved me in the womb? That's why his name is Parikshit. As a great devotee of Krishna, King Parikshit was already liberated. He was saved by Krishna because Uttara came. Uttara did not go anywhere else, although the Pandavas were also there, but she went to Krishna for help because she knew only Krishna can save. But for clarification, he was asking various questions of Sukdev Goswami. So he was asking, he knew everything about Krishna. In the previous chapter, King Parikshit's question was, what is the ultimate goal of the Vedas? The ultimate goal of Vedas is to know Krishna. Vedesha sarver aham eva vedyo vedanta krit vedavi devachaham 15:15 Bhagavad Gita. And Shukdev Goswami explained the matter, giving authoritative descriptions from the disciplic succession, from Sananda down to Narayan Rishi, Narada, Vyasadeva, and then Shukdev himself. The conclusion was that devotional service or bhakti is the ultimate goal of the Vedas. So everything should culminate in bhakti, bhakti Vedanta. Anta, the end of all knowledge, is to love the Supreme Lord. A neophyte devotee may question, if the ultimate goal of life or the conclusion of the Vedas is to elevate oneself to the platform of devotional service, then why is it observed that a devotee of Lord Vishnu is generally not very prosperous materially, whereas a devotee of Lord Shiva is found to be very opulent? So the question came up that while devotees of Lord Shiva is very opulent, like Ravana and so many others were very a lot of wealth, and devotee of Lord Krishna is not so opulent. In order to clarify this matter, Parikshit Maharaj asked Shukdev Goswami, "My dear Shukdev Goswami, it is generally found that those who engage in the worship of Lord Shiva, whether in human, demoniac, or demigod society, become very materially opulent. Although Lord Shiva himself just lives like a poverty stricken person. On the other hand, the devotees of Lord Vishnu, who is the controller of the goddess of fortune, do not appear very prosperous. So Shiva lives in the crematorium, and he doesn't have even a, he lives under a tree. But his followers are very rich, like those who, this Asura devotees, they are very, very rich. Whereas Vishnu lives in opulence, but his devotees are sometimes found to be poor. Not always, there are also devotees of Vishnu who are very rich, Amrish Maharaj, and like they are Maharajas, Dhruva Maharaj. And on the other hand, the devotees of Lord Vishnu is the controller of the goddess of fortune, do not appear very prosperous. And sometimes they are even found living without any material opulence at all. We have Kolavich, Sridhar, and Sudama, like that also. Those devotees were very, very poor. Lord Shiva lives under this thing also. Lord Chaitanya Nimai told Kolavich Sridhar, "What are you getting by worshipping Lord Krishna? You are chanting Lord Krishna's name, but see, you don't even have a proper place to stay. You are not eating, you are not able to eat proper food. You don't even have clothes to wear. And look at all the other people who are worshipping Durga Devi. They are living in nice houses with fine clothing and food. So what are you getting by worshipping Lord Krishna?" Then Sridhar said, "I am very happy and I have some place to live. I have some uh, clothes to wear, and I am living, so I'm eating also something. So I have some food to eat, and I'm very satisfied with Krishna. In my experience, I have seen that there is a bird who lives in a tree, and there's a king who lives in the palace. And time is passing for both of them. The bird has its own one set of feathers, it is eating some berries, and it lives in a humble nest. And the king is living in a palace with fine food and clothing. But time is passing the same way for both of them. I don't see much difference. So for him, he was in transcendental consciousness. So he was not concerned with the externals. If you're happy within, so Sridhar was very happy, even living in such simple condition, because he was relishing the nectar of Krishna consciousness. So sometimes they are even found living without any material opulence at all. Lord Shiva lives underneath a tree and or in the snow of the Himalaya mountain. He does not even construct a house for himself, but still the worshippers of Lord Shiva are very rich. Krishna or Lord Vishnu, however, lives very opulently, whether in Vaikuntha or in material world, but his devotees appear very poverty stricken. Like Krishna was living in 16,108 palaces in Dwarka, and his devotee in Porbandar, Sudama, was very poor. So why is this so? Of course, later on he got opulence, but he's asking, why is this so? Maharaj Parikshit's question is very intelligent. The two classes of devotees, namely the devotees of Lord Shiva and the devotees of Lord Vishnu, are always in disagreement. So in maybe some parts of India also, like South India, there is the followers of Lord Shiva, and even that king Kulatunga, he blinded Kuresh because he was so much against Ramanujacharya and the worship of Vishnu. So he blinded Kuresh, and Mahapurna also was there with him at that time, I think. And then they went into the forest and like that. So there have been some rivalry between followers of Lord Shiva and followers of Lord Vishnu. So they are in disagreement. One says Shiva is supreme, one says Vishnu is supreme. Even today in India, there are two classes of devotees still criticize each other, especially in South India. The followers of Ramanujacharya and the followers of Shankaracharya hold occasional meetings for understanding the Vedic conclusion. Even they were saying Balaji is not actually Vishnu, he is actually Lord Shiva, until it was proven later on. Generally, the followers of Ramanujarya come out victorious in such meetings. So they will debate, and then so Parikshit Maharaj wanted to clarify the situation by asking this question of Shukdev Goswami. So why it is like that? Lord Shiva lives as a poor man, although his devotees appear very opulent, whereas Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu is always opulent, and yet his devotees appear poverty stricken, is a situation which appears contradictory and puzzling to a discriminating person. So why this? Why if Lord Shiva or Lord Vishnu has so much wealth, why is not giving wealth to his devotees? It appears contradictory. And how is Lord Shiva, who doesn't appear to have any wealth, is giving so much wealth to his devotees? Replying to King Parikshit's inquiry, Shukdev Goswami said that Lord Shiva is the master of the material energy. So Parvati is the wife of Lord Shiva, and she is the one uh, in charge of this material world, Durga Devi. That's why material world is called Durg. Durg means fort, and Durga means a fort which is invincible to, so impervious. So you cannot get out of this. Durga. Ga means to go. Dur means difficult. Difficult to get out. Like sometimes you have high security prison, Tihar jail, and so many. Here also there are high security prisons. Very difficult to get out. You have layers of security. As Vasudeva and Devaki were imprisoned, and Kans had layers of security. Like there were so many gates and you cannot get out. So Durga is in charge of this material world, and she will not let anybody get out of this material world until you surrender to Krishna. The material energy is represented by Goddess Durga, and because Lord Shiva happens to be her husband, Goddess Durga is completely under his subjugation, and she's guarding with her trident and piercing everybody with the trident, so that we get miseries and then we run towards Krishna. Thus, Lord Shiva is understood to be the master of the material energy. The material energy is manifested in three qualities, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance, and therefore Lord Shiva is the master of these three qualities. Although he is in association with these qualities for the benefit of the conditioned soul, Lord Shiva is the director and is not affected. So Lord Shiva is not in ignorance, he is in charge of the mode of ignorance. In other words, but he sometimes gets affected because he is in charge. That's how it is described. In other words, although the conditioned soul is affected by these three qualities, Lord Shiva being their master is not. From the statements of Shukdev Goswami, we can understand that the effects of worshipping different demigods are not, as some less intelligent persons suppose, the same as the effects of worshipping Lord Vishnu. So, worshipping Lord Shiva and worshipping Lord Vishnu, you don't get the same result, same effect. Ravana was a devotee of Lord Shiva. His heart did not change. So, he got opulences, but his heart did not change. So that is why Bhagavatam says, Akama sarva kamava moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena jajeta purusha param. Even if you have a lot of material desires, you still worship Vishnu with great intensity, tivrena bhakti yogena. So that if you worship Vishnu, then what will happen? Your heart will change, as happened in the case of Dhruva Maharaj. He worshipped Vishnu under the guidance of Narad Muni, and in 6 months his heart completely changed. Sthana abhilashi tapasi stitoham. Sthana abhilashi tapasi stitoham. He says, to obtain a great position, I engaged in tapasya. Tvam praptavan deva munindra guhyam. But I got you. Kacham vichinvan api divya ratnam. Swamin kritharto aspi varam nayache. He says, yes, I was worshipping to get a big position, but instead I got the real diamond, which is very difficult to obtain even by the devas and the munis and Indra and so many things. So now, having seen you, my Lord, I am completely satisfied. Swamin kritharto asmi varam nayache. I don't, vara means boon. I don't ask for any boon. I am completely satisfied, O Swami. That is also Everywhere it is like that. When you get Krishna or you experience Krishna's love, then you become completely satisfied. Then you don't want anything in this world. That's basically the idea, as in Damodar Ashtakam also, that I only want this form of yours, this Bal Gopal in Vrindavan, may ever be manifest in my heart. And thousands of other benedictions are of no use to me. Then afterwards, first he says about his form, then a little bit zooms in, and then he says, "Oh, this face, which is encircled by locks of soft black hair tinged with red and kissed again and again by Mother Yashoda. Let this face ever be manifest in my mind." So, this is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Those who worship the different demigods achieve the desired results the respective demigods can reward. Similarly, those who worship the material energy receive the suitable rewards for such activities. Kamestastarita jnana prapadyanti anya devata tam tam niyamamastaya prakrita niyata swaya. Krishna says, yes, those whose hearts have been stolen by material desires, they follow the rules and regulations of the worship of that particular demigod and get their results. But then he says, oh, but this is actually given by me. You know, yo yo yam yam tanum bhakta shraddhaya architum ichchati tasya chalam shraddham taneva vidadhami aham. He says, if you desire to worship anybody, any demigods, or even a person as God, then I give them the faith. Tasya chalam shraddha. Achala. Achala means immovable shraddha. Fixed faith I give. And then now sataya shraddhaya yuktya tasya aradhanam ihate. Labate cha tatha kaman maeva vihitanitan. He says, endowed with such a faith, then he worships a particular demigod and he obtains his desires. Labate cha tatha kaman. But I am the one, maeva vihitanitan. But I am the one who is giving those. This has come about by my arrangement. Because I have empowered the demigods, and that's why they are able to give you whatever they are able to give you. So, in that way, Krishna is saying that don't go to the demigods, come to me. Because the demigods are also giving boons, which I only have given them the power. So, like that, Krishna is discouraging demigod worship in the Bhagavad Gita. Antavattu phalam tesham tad bhavati alpadmedasham devan devo yajo yanti mad bhakta yanti mamapi. So those who worship the different demigods achieve the desired results the respective demigods can reward. Similarly, those who worship the material energy receive the suitable reward for such activities, and those who worship the pitris receive similar results. Yanti deva vrata devan pitrin yanti pitrin vrataha bhutani yanti bhutecha yanti madhyajino apimam. Krishna is saying, those who worship me come to me. But those who engage in devotional service or worship of the Supreme Lord Vishnu or Krishna go to the Vaikuntha planets or Krishna Lok. One cannot approach the transcendental region or Paravyoma, the spiritual sky, by worshipping Lord Shiva or Brahma or any other demigod. And Lord Shiva also says that Mukti Pradata Sarvesham Vishnu Devana Sanshaya. There is no doubt. Sanshaya means doubt. There is no doubt that the deliverer of Mukti or the one who gives Mukti is Lord Vishnu. So, since this material world is a product of the three qualities of material nature, all varieties of manifestations come from those three qualities. So, everything is a combination of the three modes of material nature here. Just as we say, three primary colors combine to produce a varieties of different colors, red, blue, and yellow, or whatever, red, blue, green, whatever, three primary colors they combine. So, everything is a product of the material nature. With the aid of the materialistic science, modern civilization has created many machines and comforts, yet they are only varieties of the interactions of the three material qualities. Although the devotees of Lord Shiva are able to obtain many material acquisitions, we should know that such devotees are simply collecting products manufactured by the three qualities. So they are getting what they want because Lord Shiva is in charge of these three qualities and they are getting the products based on these three qualities. The three qualities are again subdivided into 16, namely the 10 senses, 5 working senses, and 5 knowledge acquiring senses. So, Karmendriya and Gyanendriya, the mind, and 5 elements. These 16 elements, so Bhumi, Apo, Nalo, Vayu, are the five elements. Then there are five karmendriyas and five gyanendriyas, and the mind, there's total 16. 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 1, the mind. These 16 items are the extensions of the three qualities. Material happiness or opulence means gratification of the senses, especially the genitals, the tongue, and the mind. By exercising our minds, we create many pleasurable things just for enjoyment by the genitals and the tongue. So we have created Disneyland and so many things, like so many things to eat, so much processed food, right? Cakes and all these things. It's all with our mind, we have created so many things for enjoyment of the tongue and the genitals. The opulence of a person within this material world is estimated in terms of his exercise of the genitals and the tongue. Or, in other words, how well he is able to utilize his sexual capacities and how well he is able to satisfy his fastidious taste by eating palatable dishes. So, these are the two characteristics of material enjoyment, the tongue and the genitals. So, we want nice things to eat and then sexual pleasure. Material advancement of civilization necessitates creating objects of enjoyment by mental concoction just to become happy on the basis of these two principles, pleasure for the genitals and pleasures for the tongue. Herein lies the answer to King Parikshit's question to Shukdev Goswami as to why worshippers of Lord Shiva are so opulent. The devotees of Lord Shiva are opulent only in terms of material qualities. Factually, such so called advancement of civilization is the cause of entanglement in material existence. The more and more we become enamored by this material existence and the technology and all this, more we get entangled and we lose taste for spiritual subject matter. Jada Vidya Mayar Vaibhav, Tumar Bhajane Badha. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that entanglement of this, when we become attracted by the glitter and glamour of this material existence, then we are not going inwards. Our senses are running outwards towards the sense objects, and we're trying to possess so many things in this world. Actually, we came with nothing and we are going with nothing. But we think this is mine, I'm going to possess this. And of course, that those things give us enjoyment. So we are after all these things and we are running after those things. And in this way, our life's time is being utilized in trying to create a very comfortable material situation. And we lose out on the opportunity for devotional service. So it is actually not advancement but degradation, Prabhupada is saying. The conclusion is that because Lord Shiva is the master of these three qualities, his devotees are given things manufactured by the interaction of these qualities for the satisfaction of the senses. So they get all this, many things in this world for the satisfaction. And Lord Shiva is also Ashutosh, very easily satisfied. So little bit you do and he's satisfied and he can give you so much opulence. That's why Lord Shiva's worship is popular in that sense. In Bhagavad Gita, however, we get instruction from Lord Krishna that one has to transcend this qualitative existence. Nistray Guno Bhava Arjuna. The mission of human life is to become transcendental to these three qualities. Unless one is Nistray Gunya. Or even if we have these things, we should think Krishna has given it to me and Krishna will take it away as time. So nothing is mine, the body is not mine, and then become transcendental to the modes of material nature and use everything to serve Krishna. He cannot get free from material entanglement. In other words, favor received from Lord Shiva are not actually beneficial to the conditioned souls, although materially such facilities seem opulent. So he is giving, but it is not, sometimes it is not good for them. So Lord Shiva being very easily satisfied, he gives boons. Like Lord Nrsimhadev told Brahma that don't give such boons. At the end of his pastime, before he went, he told Brahma, don't give this boon, such like boons. But of course, we know without those boons, Hiranyakashipu would not become so powerful and he would not torture Prahlad, we would not have appearance of Lord Nrsimhadev. So in one sense, it is all the Leela, it is all orchestrated by the Lord for his pastimes. But, so Shukdev Goswami continued. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari is transcendental to the three qualities of material nature. So Krishna may not give us something because if he feels us that this will divert us, if we are going on the path of pure devotion and want to become pure devotees, then Krishna may restrict giving us things so that we will not be swayed and we can make the best use of human form of life. That's why Krishna does not give. But if he sees that, yeah, the devotees are mature and can handle, then he may give. Like Prabhupada says, we could conquer the world in 18 days. And, but we may not be ready for that because our consciousness is not completely pure. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord states that anyone who surrenders unto him surpasses the control of the three qualities of material nature. So if we become pure in consciousness, then Krishna can give us so much. Everything can happen, manifest so easily as Srila Prabhupada during Prabhupada's time, right? So in Bhagavad Gita, Lord says that anyone who surrenders unto him surpasses the control of the three qualities of material nature. Devi Esha Gunamayi, Mammaya Durataya, Mameva Ye Prapadyante, Maya Mitam Tarantite. Therefore, since Hari's devotees are transcendental to the control of these three material qualities, certainly he himself is transcendental. So if he gives somebody money and then that person, becomes very, inclined to, do so many things like people who have money and then forget Krishna, then Krishna, why would he give money? If he's a devotee, then why would he like to? That's why he's not giving. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is therefore stated that Hari or Krishna is the original Supreme Personality. Now you may say, well, Sudama was not like that. Sudama was a devotee and he would have remained a devotee, but still he was in poverty. But Sudama was that kind of devotee that he did not want. He did not want. He kind of was like resentful of material prosperity. And some devotees are like, yeah, if it is there, I will use it in Krishna's service. I will, if it is there, they're indifferent. Like yesterday, my sister who is here from Austin, she was telling me that during Sadhu Sangha, Jayadvaita Maharaj, they they gave a very, very nice room to Jayadvaita Maharaj, like for one person, such a big room and nice room. And Jayadvaita Maharaj went inside and said, "No, I cannot stay here. This is this is not a suitable place for me to stay. It's all illusion and like that." And he said, so there are devotees who are very renounced, and then there are some devotees who say, "Yeah, okay, whatever it is, I will stay." So so it depends. So Sudama was that kind in that category that he did not want. And sometimes devotees are afraid also. So he says, "Don't give me this. I don't want this. It's better to live in poverty than in opulence because I may get carried away." They are very afraid of material, of forgetting Krishna. And so Shukdev Goswami was also in that category. He did not want to come out of his mother's womb because very afraid that if I come out of mother's womb, then I'll be captured by Maya. It is okay here in this mother's womb. It's nice, even though it's uncomfortable, but it's better than falling into Maya. So so he was like that until Krishna came and assured him that Maya will not touch you. Then he came out, and then he didn't want to stay at home. He just started walking towards the forest. So in the Jiva Jago song, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says this that the Jiva promises in the womb that once he comes out, then he will become a devotee. Then he becomes forgetful of the Bhajibo Bolia Eshe Sansara Bhitare. Bhajibo Bolia means saying that I will worship you. Bhajibo, you came into this world. Bhajibo Bolia Eshe Sansara Bhitare. Bhitar means inside. You came into this material world saying that I will worship you. Bhuliya rohile tumi avidya rabhare. But you forgot. Bhuliya. Because under the load of ignorance, avidya, or bhar. Bhar means the heavy load. You forgot all your promise and everything. So I've come, I've taken my avatar to deliver you, and know that for you, for myself, besides myself, there is no true friend you have in this world. So I brought the medicine of the Mahamantra, like that it goes. So in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord states that anyone who surrenders unto himself passes the control of the three qualities of material nature. Therefore, since Hari's devotees are transcendental to control of the three material qualities, certainly he himself is transcendental. So those who take Krishna's names become transcendental to material nature. So Krishna himself must be transcendental also. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is therefore stated that Hari or Krishna is the original Supreme Personality. There are two kinds of prakritis or potencies, namely the internal potency and the external potency. And Krishna is the overlord of both. So there is like we have the civil department and we have the criminal department. In any state, you have civil department and the criminal department, and the criminal department is handled by the police and things like that. So, so there is internal potency, which is the civil department, where civil cases are there, and external potency is the criminal department. So we are in the criminal department of the Lord. This material world, we are all criminals. We have rebelled against the. So we've been put into this jail, and it doesn't feel like it, but it is. And Krishna is the overlord of both. He is Sarvadrik. So he maintains, the government oversees both the criminal department and even the prison is overseen by the government. As well as the obedient citizens who are outside, they are also provided facilities like parks and things like that for their recreation. So both are overseen by the government. He is Sarvadrik. He sees everything, or the overseer of all actions of the internal and external potencies, and is described also as Upadrishta, the supreme advisor. He is the witness, Upadrashta Anumanta. Because he is the supreme advisor, he is above all the demigods who merely follow the directions of the supreme advisor. As such, if one directly follows the instructions of the Supreme Lord, as inculcated in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, then one gradually becomes nirgun, or above the interactions of the material qualities. So slowly we will rise above the modes of material nature if we become devoted to Krishna. Mam chayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatitetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So to rise above the lower modes, tada rajas tamo bhava kama lobha dayasya chetaye terana viddam stitam sattve prasidati. By hearing about Krishna. To be nirgun means to be bereft of material opulences, because as we have explained, material opulence means an increase of action and reactions of the three material qualities. By worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, instead of being puffed up with material opulences, one becomes enriched with spiritual advancement of knowledge in Krishna consciousness. To become nirgun means to achieve eternal peace, fearlessness, religiousness, knowledge and renunciation. All these are symptoms of becoming free from the contamination of the material qualities. So you are renounced. The more you are renounced, the more you are fearless. Because then you are not attached to losing this and losing that. So you are fearless. The more you are attached, the more fearful you are. Because now, oh, this will be taken away from me, that will be taken away from me. So renunciation and fearlessness. And when you're renounced also, then you can become more focused on Krishna. And then you can get peace from that, being focused on Krishna. And fearlessness also, peace and fearlessness are also, they go together. You can't be peaceful if you're fearful. So fearlessness gives peace also. Krishna will protect me. Krishna will maintain me. And everything is moving by the will of Krishna. All these are symptoms of becoming free from the contamination of the material qualities. Shukdev Goswami, in answering Parikshit Maharaj's question, went on to cite a historical instance regarding Parikshit Maharaj's grandfather, King Yudhishthir. So he gave some examples. He said that after finishing the Ashwamedh sacrifice in the great sacrificial arena, King Yudhishthir, in the presence of great authorities, inquired from Lord Krishna on the very same point. So, what question you are asking me? The same question Yudhishthir Maharaj asked after the Ashwamedh Yagna to Lord Krishna. How is it that devotees of Lord Shiva become materially opulent, whereas the devotees of Lord Vishnu do not? Shukdev Goswami specifically referred to King Yudhishthir as your grandfather, so that Maharaj Parikshit would be encouraged to think that he was related to Krishna and that his grandfathers were intimately connected with the Supreme Personality of God. So he's reminding him that not only you were saved by Krishna in the womb, but you have a heritage where all your ancestors were also connected to Krishna. Sometimes we take pride, saying that my grandfather was a devotee, my grandmother was very, devoted to Krishna, like that. So that is very good. But you also have to become a devotee. Like we go to distribute Bhagavad Gita, sometimes they say, my grandfather used to read Bhagavad Gita, yes. But what about you? So you have to also read Bhagavad Gita. They cannot, you have to chant your own rounds. You cannot say, oh, somebody chanted my rounds for me. No, you have to chant your own rounds. So you have to read the Bhagavad Gita yourself. Although by nature Krishna is always very satisfied, when Maharaj Yudhishthira asked this question, the Lord became even more satisfied because this question and its answer would bear a great meaning for the entire Krishna conscious society. So it would solve the puzzle for many other people also. Whenever Lord Krishna speaks about something to a specific devotee, it is meant not only for that devotee, but for all devotees, and indeed for the entire human society. So Arjuna also was put into bewilderment so that Bhagavad Gita can be spoken for our benefit. So whenever Krishna speaks, it is not only for that devotee, and the devotee may also already know it, but he is asking the question so that it is recorded in the scriptures and like generations can benefit from that. So whenever discourses are there, not only the speaker gets benefit, the listener gets benefit, but all those who are present hearing that conversation, they also get benefited. Instructions by the Supreme Personality of Godhead are important even to Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and other demigods. And if one does not take advantage of the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who descends within this world for the benefit of all living entities, is certainly very unfortunate. So, after coming in touch with Krishna consciousness movement, if we don't take advantage, then we are unfortunate. Because these instructions are for our good and they will liberate us from all the calamities of this world. So, if somebody is giving you a way to become happy and you don't accept that way, and you just rotate in the cycle of birth and death because you don't have any interest, then you're in very unfortunate situation. So here Krishna is telling us how we can become dear to him, how we can go back to the spiritual world and get rid of all the struggles and all the problems once and for all. But if you don't hear that kind of thing, it's like if you are living in a slum and somebody says, come, I have a very palatial building for you. But you say, no, no, I will live in this slum. I like it here. Don't bother me. So our situation is like that. Indra, who was also cursed to become a pig, Brahma came and said, come back, come back. Indra, the Indra who is like a pig, he said, no, 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 I am very comfortable here. I like it here. So similarly, even though life is full of struggle with birth, death, old age, disease, and so many other miseries, still we are saying, no, 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 I want to be here. I like it here. We are so attached or conditioned to this material world that we have become accustomed to this. And sometimes we say, yeah, it is natural. It is natural. Death is natural. This is natural things happening. Well, if it's natural, then when death comes, why are you trying to avoid it? If it's natural, then you should accept it with happiness. But anytime we have body problems and all this, we go to the doctor and we try to rectify the situation. So it is, yeah, death is not natural. It's for the soul. I mean, that's ultimately the soul doesn't die, but because in identification with the body, he thinks. So as soon as we disconnect our identification with the body, then so many problems are solved. It's only for this body's demands that we have to, work very, very hard and entangle ourselves in this. As soon as you realize that you have nothing to do with this body, I'm just a spirit soul passing through in this body for a few years, and nothing I have to gain or lose in this. And then you can be on the spiritual platform. So all the priorities will change. Because why should I endeavor for something that I cannot hold on to, right? I mean, I cannot. What is the point of accumulating many things and then giving up one day and spending all the time? It's like building a castle on the sand. And you build a castle, and night time, you have to leave the castle, the sand castle, and it may be washed away by water. So, so what is the point? That is the idea about spiritual life. So Lord Krishna answered the first question of Maharaj Yudhishthira as follows: If I especially favor a devotee and especially wish to care for him, the first thing I do to take away is his riches. When the devotee becomes a penniless pauper, so we should not feel, oh, if I become a devotee, should I take up devotional service because Krishna will take away everything from me? Here he's saying that if he's special, then how will I live? Better not become a devotee. No, he will do only for those elevated devotees, very, very exalted devotees who may have slight hope of material enjoyment, and to get rid of that kind of last vestiges of material attachments and hope. He may do that for those people. For doctor does not give like adult medicine, adult doses of medicine to a child. That's why we have pediatricians, right? They are specially designed to give, or they're educated on how much dose to give. There's a whole field of medicine for children. If adult and children were the same, so Krishna will not give uh, an adult dose to a child who is a child in Krishna consciousness, who is very like new and is not very advanced. So we don't have to worry about that. But he may, at our level, he may make us detached, and so that slowly and gradually we can come to Krishna. Sometimes he may give a bigger dose, and then suddenly, all of a sudden, like Bilva Mangal Thakur, all of a sudden his life transformed. So he can do that also. So Krishna knows, as a doctor, he knows what is the best for the patient, if the patient can handle it or not. So if I especially favor a devotee and especially wish to care for him, the first thing I do is to take away his riches. Why riches? Because with riches there is so many desires to enjoy. So if riches are taken away, if you don't have any money, then in this world, you are not, nobody is going to look at you, and you're not going to be respected. This is a symptom of Kali Yuga. One who has money is respected. So is when the devotee becomes a penniless pauper, means will he not get his food? Oh, he will get his food. Even the birds are getting their food. They are not doing any business. So there are so many beggars. They are living. They are getting. They may be starving also, but somehow they are living. When the devotee becomes a penniless pauper or is put into a comparatively poverty-stricken position, his relatives and family members no longer take interest in him because they are materialistic people. They are not going to take interest in somebody who has no money. And in most cases, they give up their connection with him. So now he's free from all these encumbrances related to family and so many things. And now he's free. The devotee then becomes doubly unhappy, sorry. He becomes unhappy because there's nobody who's like, praising him, nobody who cares for him. First of all, the devotee becomes unhappy because his riches have been taken away by Krishna. And he's made even more unhappy when his relatives desert him because of poverty. We should note, however, that when a devotee falls into a miserable condition in this way, it was not due to past impious activities known as karma phala. The poverty of the devotee is a creation of the personality of Godhead. So to make him pure hearted, Krishna arranges for situations in life Similarly, when a devotee becomes materially opulent, that is also due to not his pious activities. In either case, whether the devotee becomes poorer or richer, this arrangement is made by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This arrangement is especially made by Krishna for his devotee, just to make him completely dependent upon him and to free him from all material obligations. So he says, Krishna, I have no other shelter than you, Krishna. I completely depend upon you. And then he can concentrate his energy, his mind, body, everything for the service of the Lord, and that is pure devotional service. Fully dedicated, not 60% dedicated or 50%. Because now there is nothing in their life, right? They're materially finished. And there is all the money has been taken away, nothing is there. So, as Bhaktivedanta Maharaj says, death strips away everything that is false. Like in an onion, you peel the different layers one by one. So, death will peel away everything that is false. So, like Prabhupada wrote in his poem, Krishna has shown me the naked form of material nature. So, this material nature is so harsh place. We are thinking I have a nice situation, but it's so harsh. After giving some pleasure, it gives unhappiness because it separates us from our loved ones and everybody in this world. So before death comes, they say you die before dying. Means you voluntarily give up. That is the Varnashram. Varnashram was based on this principle that as you grow older, then you just wind down your activities, and your involvement in everything and just become fully dependent on God. And, and Prabhupada says, if not earlier, at the age of 50, you should take the warning of death very seriously. So, of course, actually we should take because we don't know whether we'll be 50 or not. So many people died before 50. In the Narada Pancharatra, it is therefore explained, Sarvopadi Vinirmuktam, which means, and we'll finish with this, it's 9 o'clock, so we'll finish with this paragraph, which means being freed from all designations. So forget that you are the son of such and such, you hold this position, that position, I am the CEO of this company. All these things are all these considered designations. I am the husband of such and such, this is my child. It is all going to evaporate with time. So, of course, we do our duty, but in the internal core of our heart, these are all by force of karma. We have come in a certain situation, and with time, everything will be separated. Like my mother passed away right now. Can I communicate with her in any way? No, there is no way to communicate with her. Okay, you say I'm having dreams or whatever, and she came in my dream and like that. But factually, where she is, where the spirit soul is, you don't know. Where she has gone and where she's, you forget everything completely, fully. I mean, she's gone, moved on to her next destination, wherever that Krishna wanted. And she's now not remembering that we had such a loving relationship. And she was thinking, I am her son, and it's gone. So in few days, I will also pass away. I will also forget, and everything goes into oblivion, into the ages, as they say. So many families have come and gone like that. So everything goes like that. And we are being just going from one life to the next. So if you see the bigger picture, you can't help but become detached. So bigger picture, if you see what is this happening, this life, every life we are transmigrating. So so of course we have to do our duty in our family and things like that. But everything in Krishna conscious way. And at the end, at the inside our heart, we should know that this rug can be pulled under my feet from at any time. I'm standing on a rug and feeling very comfortable, but suddenly if somebody pulls the rug under from my feet, that can happen anytime, and has happened to so many people. So it can happen to me also. So which means being freed from all designations. Works performed for family, society, community, nation, or humanity are all designated. I belong to this society, I belong to this community, I belong to this nation, I belong to this species of life. Such identities are all. Prabhupada even says, I am a human being, I belong to this country, I belong to this caste. This is also a designation. Such identities are all merely designation. And for these designations, we are building more and more designations, right? When I was born, I was in some family like that. Now then, I took a PhD degree or a master's degree, and I'm not saying we should not, but then we identify. Now I'm an engineer. I'm an engineer now, and now I have made more relationships. Now I have wife. Now these are my children. Then you expand. Now these are my grandchildren, and this is like that whole thing expands, and we are full of designations. So, when by the grace of Lord a devotee is freed from all designations, his devotional service is actually Naishkarmiya. So, sometimes we have to just sit and reflect on our true identity as spirit soul. Oh, we have nothing to do with this material existence. We are like just a foreigner here. Jnanis are very much attracted by the position of Naishkarmiya, in which one's activities no longer have any material effect. The devotee's activities are freed from material effects. So Gyanis, they have come about above this bodily platform, and they want to do activities in which there is no reaction to those activities. So they stop working sometimes, they just renounce. They think that by doing activity, then I will create karma. So just not do any activities, just meditate. But even if you are meditating, you need something to eat, right? So you are getting karma, you're breathing, you are you have something to eat. So you are creating karma by that. So you can't be completely free from karma on that platform unless you become a devotee of Krishna. Krishna says, Yagnarthat karmonanyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. He says work should be done as satisfaction for Vishnu. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. The devotee's activities are freed from material effects, and so these activities are no longer in the category of karma phalam or fruitive activities. As explained before by the personified Vedas, the happiness and distress of a devotee are produced by the personality of Godhead, and the devotee therefore does not care whether he is in happiness or in distress. He goes on with his duties in executing devotional service, although his behavior seems to be subject to the actions and reactions of fruitive activities, actually freed from the results of action. So Krishna takes all the karma of a devotee and then he gives him whatever he thinks is suitable to bring that devotee closer to him. Accordingly, he gives a token reaction or a little bit more, whatever. Or even if there is no karma, he may give suffering also. Sometimes we say, yeah, this karma is a result of my suffering. But Krishna can also give little suffering. Even if it is not in his karma, he may give suffering to the devotee to set him on the right track, on the right path. So it may be questioned. Okay, so we will continue with this. Is anybody there? You can hear if there is anybody want to say anything. If anybody is hearing. So I'll bookmark this. Any comments anybody has? Okay. No comments. Who all are there on the call? I know Radhika must have gone to the temple. Who else is there on the call?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Anybody else? We have Vallavi Gopi. Okay, so I see Shivendra, Madhav Kanta Prabhu, Ritu, Dev. That is logged in. And there is a guest user. Okay, who is the guest user? Can you please identify yourself? So we'll stop here. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Thank you.